Most of us who've enjoyed the comforts of a home all our lives tend to take family life pretty much for granted. I mean, unless you've been without a home for a few years, you may not really appreciate it. This is one case, I think, where the fellow who's never had it can probably give a more convincing description of the comforts of a home than the fellow who's lived in one ever since he can remember. I suppose it's only natural to take the home for granted, just as most of us do Mom and Dad. I think it was Robert Frost who said that home was the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Well, anyway, a little while back, a woman came to me complaining about the very tense household she lived in. I'm surrounded by people who are constantly in turmoil, she said. If I don't get some peace and quiet, I'm going mad. Well, I managed to learn some more about this household of hers. She called it Bedlam. What she did find out sure surprised her. More on this after this message. When this woman complained to me about her home resembling an institution for the mentally ill, I began to imagine all kinds of horrors. Boy, I thought to myself, that husband of hers sure must be a terror. But you know, strangely enough, her husband turned out to be one of the meekest men I've ever met in my life. Well, I got interested, and I really wanted to get to the bottom of this situation, to find out what was causing this woman all this grief. So, we decided to conduct a little test. I suggested that Mom take a well-earned holiday. This she did, although a little reluctantly. I had to persuade her. She was just positive that this home of hers would fall apart without her. While she was away, I asked her husband one day how the family was making out. He sort of looked around in a mousy, furtive way and finally whispered to me that everything was just wonderful. Well, I told the wife about the results of this test, and I must say this for this woman. She honestly wanted to know who was at fault, and now she knew for a fact. Looking back, she realized that she was trying to get even for the domination that she had suffered as a little girl. Raising Cain was her way of telling off the world. But it was she who was paying the heaviest price. Once she got to know herself better, though, and forget her past, she helped transform that family overnight into the happy home she'd always wanted.